But these serious stories begin.
Just like how dark and dense clouds block out the powerful rays of the sun, a vast army of thousands of Daityas, Asurs and Danavs approached from the skies above, almost as though pitch black, ginormous mountains now suddenly had wings and chose to cover the skies, flaunting their colossal form, intimidating everything that stood around them. Now this avalanche, this wave of 14,000 Daityas, Asurs and Danavs approached armed with a variety of weapons. Some carried enormous swords, some a quiver of poisonous arrows, some armed with a trishul, a trident, and others who had such long and sharp teeth and claws that they didn't even need a weapon. While making loud, deafening and thunderous screams, they all charged, travelled towards the place where Sumitra Nandan Lakshman, Janak Putri Sita, Kaushalya Nandan, Dashrath Putra, Raghuvansh Nath Shri Ram resided, towards their ashram. Spotting the vast army, this sea of Asurs, Daityas and Danavs that approached as quickly as dense dark clouds, about to collide thunder and rain. Sensing this threat approach, Shri Ram said to his brother Lakshman, "Saumitra, it seems that despite knowing the fact that I have slayed 14 fearsome, horrific and ferocious Danavs recently, instead of being warned, Shurpanakha has let her pride, her arrogance and anger get the better of her, which is why she has now sent this avalanche, this vast army of Asurs, Daityas and Danavs to once again battle with me. Brother, hurry, take Janki along with you and seek shelter in the caves located behind this mountain." Seeing an expression of doubt and hesitation on Lakshman's face, Shri Ram continued and said, "My dear brother Lakshman, you are surely strong and brave, but you must understand that at this point in time, Sita's security is of utmost importance, is priority. Every lady, every woman is most definitely and without a doubt a source, a form of Shakti, of strength. But it is also a man's kartavya, his duty, his responsibility, that he steps forward for her respect and security. Where a woman is not respected, not protected, not secure, that society, that nation walks towards its own end. Now, Lakshman, you must follow and do what I have just asked of you." Shri Ram himself embodies, stands for the truth, for dharma, for kartavya, for duties and responsibilities. Then how in the world could Lakshman not follow what his brother had just said? Instantly, he took Mata Sita and proceeded towards the caves. Now Ajanubahu Shri Ram, the one with long arms, mounted his mighty shrang, his divine bow, onto his strong, well-defined and broad shoulders, and stepped out of his hut, his ashram, and walked himself to the peak of a mountain close by, stood there and looked up to the skies as though observing, assessing the wave of Asurs, of Daityas and Danavs approaching, assessing the threat, the battle that awaited. Seeing the sea of Asurs get closer, Shri Ram calmly readied himself, mounted his quiver of arrows on his back and fastened it at his waist. While running his fingers through his thick, dark, curly and luscious hair that flew in the breeze. He rolled them all up into a tight bun and fastened them with his Rudraksh mala. With a steady, strong and sturdy grip, he held the shrine and took a stance, ready to attack. While he stood there to retaliate, to battle, his saffron clothes fluttered in the strong wind like flying embers lit up in all their glory. He stood there with his eyes fixed, focused on the army of Daityas that approached. This sight was so divine, so celestial, that it looked as though Mahadev Shiv himself stood atop this mountain, holding his divine Trishul, ready to commence his thunder. Within moments thereafter, the Daityas, the Asurs and the Danavs had surrounded the Lord of the Shrang, the Almighty, the All-Powerful, the one who waited, adorned with saffron clothes in all his glory, the great Shri Ram. Where on the one hand, all the Asurs and Daityas clapped violently, slapped their heads to express their rage, yelled and screamed in a deafening tone, challenging Shri Ram. On the other hand, Shri Ram, ready with a calm and composed stance, simply smiled back at them. He was as calm as the calm waters of a lake. Seeing him so unmoved, unaffected, unintimidated, seeing him as steady as a rock, the rage, the fury, and the anger of the Daityas now knew no end. This moment, this point in the story is vital. Vital because so far, Shri Ram had engaged in one-on-ones, individual battles with fierce, horrific and ferocious Danavs at different points in time. But this was the first time he was confronting an entire army, a vast expansive sea of Danavs, Asurs and Daityas all at once. Despite which he didn't flinch, didn't hesitate, had no expression of doubt or fear. Instead, he chose to fight alone, with a calm, composed and focused approach, and with a smile on his face. "Go and eat this man alive!" Announcing this in a thunderous, deafening voice, the fierce battle had now commenced. Poisonous arrows flew towards Shri Ram from all directions, but Shri Ram, in response, simply lifted his divine bow, pulled its string right up to his ears, and snap, released it. The dhvani, the powerful deafening sound that was created from this action, literally cut to pieces each of the poisonous arrows that flew towards him from all directions. Infuriated, these Daityas, these Asurs, raised every weapon they came armed with, a sword, a khadag, a spear, every possible weapon, and ran, charged towards Shri Ram. With unbelievable, unimaginable speed, Shri Ram relieved several arrows towards these Danavs in all possible directions. His focus, his aim was so precise, so accurate, that each arrow he released split open the heads of a few Daityas, cut off the limbs of a few, while running through and through the chest of several Daityas. Despite this successful attack, the sea of Asurs kept charging at him, one wave after another. Witnessing this sight, scared, worried, even the Devtas, the divine rishis and munis who watched on, discussed amongst themselves and said, "This army, this sea of Asurs, seem a lot more than just 14,000. They just keep coming, while on the other hand, it is just Shri Ram alone." Just that moment, something extraordinary, something miraculously divine and spectacular happened. Even the worried Devtas and Rishi Munis were left spellbound. This was Shri Ram's Maya. Each of these Daityas, these Asurs and Danavs, now saw Shri Ram in the other. Everywhere they looked, despite actually being their own brothers, they appeared as Shri Ram to them. "There he is! That's him! Catch him!" they exclaimed and began to slay each other. And just like that, in moments, this vast sea, this gigantic army of Asurs wiped themselves out, killing each other. The worried and concerned Devtas and Rishi Munis now rejoiced. This was their introduction to the strength, the divinity of the protector of the universe, the roop, the form of the one who holds the Sudarshan Chakra, none other than the great Sri Hari Vishnu. Realizing his divine and powerful presence, all the Devtas and Rishi Munis began to pray to the great Sri Ram.
Shri Ramachandra Kripal Bhaj Mana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam.
This was in many ways a warning to the evil Ravan, an alert, an intimation of Sri Ram's arrival.
Navakanjalochana Kanjamukha Kanjapada Kanjarunam.
But friends, Sri Ram wasn't born only to put an end to the tyranny and torture of Ravan. Ravan was previously defeated by even Sugriva's brother, Bali. He fell unconscious with just a mighty blow, one strong punch bestowed upon him by the great Pavan Putra Hanuman. Devi Sita too managed to get Ravan quaking in his bones with only a blade of grass. Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram was born to establish, to set a benchmark, a definition of compassion, to protect truth, to fight for, protect and respect the power, the honor of a woman, to teach everyone to step up, stand strong, even during the toughest times, to fulfill their duties, to teach the world to love, to give without expectations. He who is a sea of compassion, the protector of one and all, the one whose eyes are as beautiful and shapely as the petals of a lotus. With his divine smile does the sun share its first ray at dawn. He whose sevak is none other than the Rudra avatar, the great Pavan Putra Hanuman. He who is the better half of the Parashakti, the all-powerful Mahalakshmi, Devi Sita. Before that, Prabhu Sri Ram, I bow my head. Friends, if you've enjoyed this story and if you'd like to hear more such stories, stories about Bharat, its glorious history, its culture and heritage, then do subscribe to this channel. And oops, almost forgot, don't forget to hit that bell icon.
A DC where stories begin.